Hi, I'm Nivedita, and today in conversation with me is Dr. Tristha Ramamurthy, founder of Ekya Schools and Provost of the CMR University. Tristha brings to fore her passion for pedagogy. Ekya Schools was founded to bring research based learning experiences to India, and this fully owned chain of schools offers K 12 education with curriculum that has been developed in house with the guidance of Trishta and such that students experience learning that is designed to challenge, engage, and excite. Trishta holds an Ed.D. Doctor of Education from the King's College London and is keen to bring in inquiry based learning from Reggio, Italy, and design thinking from Stanford Design School. Her vision is to create an ecosystem in the institutions that she leads, both K 12 and higher education, where new ideas, innovators, and independent thinkers are nurtured. A space to nurture creativity and competency to face the complex world we are all in. A vision very lofty and very needed indeed. Trishta, you have a great privilege of looking at both school and higher education simultaneously and seamlessly across your institutions. What is the gap in education you see currently that you feel the need of addressing with an urgency? COVID has kind of brought out all those multifarious gaps, or has it?
Thank you, Nivedita. Lovely to be here and to have this conversation with you. I think to talk about the major gap with respect of COVID is, and I'm sure you'd agree, is teacher education. Just the idea that we need the very best in our classrooms, and we need to see teaching as a profession, as a body that has professional knowledge base that can be used with expertise for students and for the benefit of students. I think the acknowledgement from society that teachers are important, the work teachers do is important, has been eroded over time. We need to bring that back to focus and really see how we can have the best people bring out the best in our students.
Actually, what I'm seeing as working with the teachers, the need for understanding of pedagogy, the need for understanding of student has even a bit much exacerbated by this online teaching.
Yes.
Because a lot of it we could get by physically being with the child, but we have to be exemplary good teachers online to be able to keep that kind of a connect and attention, one. And two, the parents, because they are almost hovering in the online classrooms, and they're doing a bit of homeschooling in parallel. Looks like a lot of parents that I have been speaking with, they have realized that it is tough work to manage a class of 20, 30, even 10 for that matter, and keep their attention and keep them motivated for learning. So both from the educator side and the parent side, this realization has come up. But now what? Now, what do we do with this realization? What is coming up to help with this realization?
I think, COVID has opened up our classrooms to the entire world. And with this focus on ed tech and all of the frenzy that's happening in the market, I think it's a good thing that we're now talking about teaching work and the work teachers do. And I think the next step should be looking at, and looking and talking about what are the skills that teachers need.
Right.
What is the content that they need? What is the pedagogical approaches they need to understand? What is the instructional methodology that they need to employ? And for what type of students and what situations? And I think the NEP also talks about it, but to focus on teacher training institutes.
Right.
And, I'm glad parents see teaching as hard work and they're getting to spend so much time with their kids and homeschool them and they understand how complex it is especially in an environment right now when we're doing remote schooling. But I can see my parent body, for example, really appreciating teachers and writing notes of appreciation and thanking teachers and saying, "You're doing such a wonderful job. We really thank you for doing the work that you do." So there has been a shift to take it forward. I think government initiative, industry initiative, and as an entire parent body to say that uh, when we come back to school, when I don't have access to my child's classroom, I trust the teacher's doing the best because I know that I saw for a few months the work that she put in with her family and with all of the challenges that she's facing, that she cared about my child. Just that trust in the school system, I think, would make a huge difference. Institutes of teacher training, certifications, I think should go up. And the perception now that teaching is not just as a hobby or a craft or something we just fall into by chance, that really changes and we attract the right people.
Right, right. See, not by chance, but by choice is this profession. And you have been long time professing this idea. Okay, it has to be research based. You've established core team in your schools which only focuses on curriculum, helps the teacher with understanding the curriculum that has been created. It gets co-created with some of the teachers. You have a student voice and choice in that entire setup. Now, how was it then? Why did you focus on it, and how is it now?
Teacher education has been an area of passion, Nivedita, for me for over a decade now. And it started with a project that I worked on when in my undergraduate, looking at what motivates someone to become a teacher. And then that transformed into what is the teaching profession? Is it a profession at all? And how do we really define teaching? And there, across the world, this idea of teachers has been changing. And unless we see teachers in a particular way, we will not get the outcomes we need. We need to see them as professionals, and they are professionals. And so this journey began with that foundation for me to see that we give our very best, and teaching is like a doctor would use instruments to operate in his operation room. Teachers have those tools, and what we're doing is nothing less complex than creating a human being. And this requires a lot of knowledge, ability, and passion. And so that was sort of the foundation and the mindset that this journey began. And it's been a long journey. In the beginning, many people felt that it was, why are we doing this? It's just textbook, notebooks, which it's simple, it's straightforward. What's so hard? We have a textbook, we train the kids on it, we test them on that book, we give them marks, and we graduate them, and that is what school does. And so it's been a journey, but I think it's been a fulfilling one for everybody on my team to work on this mindset that we are creating the future. We cannot create it without really understanding that the work that we do brings expertise, brings passion, and teachers do that in the classroom, and we have to support them in that journey. And it's definitely been a shift in mindset, but I think the best school systems have to do that across the world, and Scandinavian countries, Finland, being a teacher is the highest profession you can enter. You see that in their outcomes. So I think that's sort of been the inspiration.
So, has there been a way for you to choose a team for you, or what do you hire for and what do you train for in your schools?
We spend a lot of time picking the team, the teachers into the system. Definitely content is important. Their ability to learn and unlearn is very important. So you could come in with 10 years, 15 years of classroom experience, but that does not make you the best fit for the students of today. There is enough to learn and keep learning. So we look for a learner's mindset. We look for teachers who are willing to take feedback. We believe that teaching is a very lonely profession, because you enter a classroom and there's no one to give you feedback. Children cannot tell you, children will love you needless. So as a professional, you cannot grow unless you have somebody giving you feedback and taking you on that journey of learning. And so we follow a very systematic program of teacher mentorship, teacher coaching, and we track that data. We support teachers. They set their own goals, and we help them achieve those professional goals. And I think that's the kind of effort that we're putting in, and we want teachers to be active participants of that effort, because it takes not just the organization but the people who are entering it. You should be as invested in your growth as a teacher, and not complacent where you are. So we want teachers who are willing to put in the hard work, and that's how we really sift for the best.
So, on one side, school teachers are still amenable to learning, growing, feedback. But as far as my understanding and working with the university professors is, they're quite the diva on their own. So how are you translating this vision to your university? Because you want to nurture creativity in your university. You want them to work with the students. You want them to be still learning as professors, and looking at new pedagogies. I mean, how is that translating in your university?
It's an interesting question, actually, but I think we have to find people that are aligned to what the organization is moving towards. And if that means searching far and wide, then I guess that is the journey we are on. I'd like to believe that if somebody is really passionate about making a difference in students' lives as a professor, as a teacher, then that's who we're looking for. And I don't want to generalize that most higher education faculty members behave a particular way, but it is a different mindset, definitely, to work with higher education versus school, because they come in with a lot of content knowledge, come in a lot of degrees and a lot of experience and research. So they bring something to the table that students need, and it's to only ignite the passion that they came in. They chose the profession for a reason, really to bring them back to that place and say, hey, this is what you're doing. And these are conversations, I guess, and we're work in progress, Nivedita. I think it's a long journey, but definitely I think attracting the right focus is going to be important.
Right. You have focused a lot over the years on design thinking, both in your school and in the higher ed, in your, not just in your engineering institutions, even in your management and architecture, which is something very unique, because I have found it working in some schools, and I've also found it in very STEM kind of environment. But to bring it, or completely design, like, but it quite has been seamlessly flowing through. So why did you do it? How did you do it? And what is the status now?
Our intention is to nurture students who will create a difference in the world one day. We want them to be problem solvers. And for that, the design thinking framework just gives space and an ability to problem solve. Gives them a really nice sandbox, so to speak, on how to do it and build that problem solving muscle. And I think our journey began over, I would say, about 6 years ago, when we started doing the design thinking challenges. And today, it is a very core part of the way we learn a lot across learning areas. We break up the different steps and use them in multiple ways in different learning areas. We use in math, we use in science. If you look at English, it uses a design thinking process of having drafts and working on drafts and getting feedback. So if we were to step back a little from the design thinking framework and look at it and sort of layer it on top of learning areas, we see that most learning areas function that way. In social science, if you were to discuss a particular phenomena or a particular aspect, you do talk about how you ideate around it, you brainstorm around it, and if you were to communicate it, you have drafts, you have discussions around it. So
Right.
a lot of the design thinking frameworks can be used across learning areas. In our university, definitely every student goes through design thinking. They do a design thinking challenge. In school, we introduce something called the makery. It's a maker space. From grade 6 upwards, every student gets to experience the maker space and do a little challenge there. We also do little challenges in science, social science. So we try to incorporate it within our system, but also do design thinking challenges separate unit also. So multiple ways.
So is it challenging to do that kind of a process uh, in current times, or have you been able to translate it
It's
online?
hard. Virtually, it's been hard. We
Mhm.
haven't even been able to. It needs a facilitator, the teacher, and the students have to be talking to each other. So we haven't really done the design challenge in a virtual environment yet.
So that could be like a short-term design challenge to solve,
Yes, actually,
possibly.
absolutely.
So what is your short-term challenge?
I think it was really pivoting to a virtual learning environment to be able to
Okay.
give students a full school experience.
Right.
Um, but the other challenges have been ensuring well-being of our students
Right.
and our staff, to make sure that everybody's okay and they understand that the community is there for them. Also, just the social element has been lost in this
Right.
COVID time, and a third grader not being able to hang out with friends, and suddenly it's just heartbreaking that they cannot come to school. So these are the kind of things that we're focusing on at the moment.
Right.
The most recent challenge for us.
I love the way you seamlessly talk about the master's courses and the third graders. Would there be any would you like to share some tips for your peers, leaders in the institutions, because the responsibility of both education and well-being is
Mhm.
squarely sitting on the leaders of the institutions.
Yeah.
How do you take care of yourself, and how do you take care of your community, your team?
Yes. Actually, coincidentally, this week on our weekly meeting with all the head of schools, our theme was well-being. So we're talking about what it means to us and how can we make this better and build our community stronger. And I think one of the key things is also to look after ourselves and and one of the things that I've been working on is knowing the mind and understanding how the mind works and how thoughts work, and been reading a lot about meditation and practices of mindfulness and all of that. And I think COVID has sort of shifted everybody's,
Right.
changed our orbit literally.
Right.
And it's a great thing. We're going inward, and as we go inward, as we calm down, as we get better, we improve ourselves, and really our best nature comes out. And only then are we able to be of service to others. And we do need to take care of ourselves. And then, as educators, I think it's important to see the work that we do, and as leaders, to see our work that we do as not part of a factory.
Right.
As educators, we're not. We don't have a factory. We have people. We have human beings, and all of this week I've been getting on quick calls with students who've been randomly selected. I've been spending some time just talking to students and understanding how they're doing, and it it's really made me so happy to see that and it's really brought it back that we're working with human beings, and that each one is different. Each mind is different. Each life is different, and really understanding that we are privileged to work with people, not objects.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's how wonderfully said. It's a privilege to work with people. So in closing, Trishta, is there anything which you lean in on at this point in time? Something which influences you, inspires you, a person or a book or an incident or a memory. Um, what do you lean on for yourself?
I think my mother, who was the founder of, who started the CMR group, she started with 5 students in a guava orchard, and today, we serve so many students. And she's an eternal learner, and she really believes in spirituality, knowing yourself, and going within. And during this time, she's just watched all kinds of YouTube videos, read all kinds of books. She's she really sets an example for innovating and learning and thinking and moving forward. And it's been her mandate that students first. Students are at the heart of all decisions that we make, and we do it for the students and nobody else. And that very clear path is what I keep coming back to. And when I feel like I don't know how to make this decision and I don't know which direction to take it, I come back to all the time. She says, students first. And I think she's been a very big influence in my life.
It's wonderful to know that. As an educator, it warms my heart because whenever we are thinking of the child, it's like all decisions stare at you. It's
Yes.
easier to think of a problem when you think of a person.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
it's beautiful how you stated that. Thank you, Trishta, and I wish you all the best to not just tide through, but actually lead through these times and share with all of us as how one can actually wade through, look inward, shift gears, learn more, love more, with the people you work with. I think it's exemplary. Thank you, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nivedita. Lovely having this chat with you.
Likewise.
Thank you.